Good morning, guys. I hope everyone's doing well. Uh, got some good news for you. I decided, you guys have been doing so well on your homework and getting stuff turned in and whatnot that there's no homework today. April Fools. I had to do it. Sorry, it's April Fools. I didn't get to be around with you guys today, so I had to make a pretty uh, make some sort of joke. I did it to Cami last night, and she said, "Really, really?" And then I said, "Just kidding, April Fool." So um, today's assignment shouldn't be too hard. I hope that. Yeah, but again, if you have any questions, feel free to get in contact with me. I'm going to go through about all the lessons again today, and give you kind of an update on some, or not update, but just kind of keep moving on some of the things that I have planned for the rest of this week. The first thing I did on the top of the sheet that I sent home last night was um, gave a link to Mystery Doug. I know you guys all know Mystery Doug from Mr. Wasser's class. And I want you to watch the episode called Why Do Woodpeckers Peck Wood? Don't watch the other ones because I may send other ones home. And I don't want you to spoil it before then. When you go watch that video, there's also a place to click on when you watch that video of more activities, and that'll give you some optional more activities to work on that you can look at other videos to watch about like what other animals might eat, um, even little science experiments for you to be able to do. So if you have extra time this afternoon, I would definitely go ahead and take a look at that. I know Mystery Doug's pretty cool, so um, I want everyone to at least watch the video, and do try to do a couple of those activities. Okay. With spelling, by the end of the day today, you should have at least the first 2 pages done of Unit 25. So make sure you're working hard at getting those units done. Um, I will be able to have the spelling test link sent out on Thursday night to all your parents. So make sure you're studying for your spelling test. I need Friday, you will take that spelling test, and again, it's going to be on your honor system, which means I'm trusting you that you won't be cheating. You won't have your list out or your spelling book out. Your parents will be kind of watching, making sure that's not done. I know none of you will do that, but it's completely on your own honor system that you'll be doing that, and then you'll send me what your score was after you take the test. Okay, so should be fairly simple. Kindergarten today with all you are working on is math. You're working your lesson 99. In lesson 99, it's almost exactly identical. The front side is as what we did on Monday. Working on adding those numbers. Tell me how many are in the first square. Write that number. How many are in the second square? Write that number. Then add all of them together. You did a very good job on that. I looked at that assignment. You did a very good job. And then also remember, just like last time, you have to color the card that has the most hearts on them or the most diamonds on them, a certain color. So look at that very carefully. Then on the back side, it's something that you and I have worked on many, many times, is working on writing those numbers up to 20 and filling in those missing numbers. So start at 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 20, and write those numbers in. And don't forget, after 10, it's just like going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 again, except you put a number 1 in front of it. So um, that's how we get 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 7, all and so forth. Okay. I also gave your mom, Lauren, a couple sites for you to go to. One has some math games that you can be working on. Same thing, counting those things up. Um, and then another one has a couple worksheets that your mom can go and she said she might be able to print off at work. So take a look at those, work on those math problems. If you're looking for more to do, write your numbers, keep writing those numbers, see how high you can write your numbers, see if you can get past 20, see if you can go all the way to 30, see if that would be pretty sweet if you can do that. You can also continue working on writing your name, maybe try writing your whole name. um, and remember, nice and neat. So your homework has been your handwriting's been very, very nice and neat, so keep it up, keep up that good work. Okay, so that should be about it for kindergarten. First graders today in math, you're on lesson 93. You have 2 sheets there. You're going to be taking a look at both of those sheets. The first one's just a bunch of adding and subtracting. Be careful that they're trying to trick you a little bit by putting some subtracting in there, so be very, very careful that you're looking at the sign when you're doing that. Um, on your assignment for or the lesson page, the top part, you're writing that number 84. Don't forget to count up all those digits and write the tally marks in there in the top part. And then for number 2, it says Julie put 4 pairs of socks in the washing machine. Well, how many socks are in a pair? There's 2, right? So that's when, remember, we draw the circle and we put 2 socks, another circle, 2 socks. So you draw 4 circles, and then each one put 2 socks. Okay, so put all those in that little square there. It says when she took the socks out of the washing machine, she only counted 6 socks. What do you think happened? So on the line, you're going to tell me what you think happened. Okay. Number 3, count up all the lights. And when I say lights, I say like lamps. I don't know if you can see, like here's a light right here. You could use that, or there's a lamp way back there. Count all the lights in your house, and then write that number on the line, and then write in the long rectangle box, that number in tally marks. Remember, that's when you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so you're going to use those marks. So do that in the box over there. Number 4, you got some 1 dime and the rest are pennies. Color the pennies brown and then tell me how much money that is. Number 5, this is where you got to follow some directions. There's a bunch of squares down there. I think there's 7 of them, and it says draw a triangle in the second square. Put an X in the middle square. Divide the third square in half, and divide the 5th square into fourths. Remember, into fourths, that means you cut it into 4 equal pieces. So it shouldn't be too hard. Just make sure you follow those directions, read them carefully. And then on number 6 is to tell me what is 11:30. So remember, half past means it's the numbers behind it is 30, and if it's 11:30. 11:30. So you got to write that on both clocks. And at the very, very bottom, you got to put those numbers in order from smallest to biggest, least to greatest. Okay. On the back side of your sheet, you're going to be finishing the pattern. You're counting by tens, 10, 20, 30, and then 2, 4, 6. You're counting by tens and then counting by twos, and write the rest of those numbers. Number 2 is just like we did on number 2 on the front side, except you're only dealing with 3 pairs of socks. So you got to draw 3 big circles and then put 2 socks in each one. And then tell me, here again, she pulls out her socks and she only counts 5 socks. How many socks? What happened, do you think? Number 3, you got to tell me how many chairs there are. So look around your house, count all the chairs up, and write the tally marks. Again, we have on the money part, this time we only have 2 pennies and the rest are dimes. Remember, the dime number always comes first. So if there's 5 dimes and 3 pennies, all right, so that means we have 53. Okay, if we had 2 dimes and 1 penny, that's 21. Okay, so count up the dimes, put that number first, count up the pennies, put that number behind it, and then put the cent sign behind it. Don't forget to color your pennies brown, please. Number 5, I want you to follow those directions. Triangle on the last, X in the 4th square, 6th square divide into fourths, and the middle square cut in half. 6, 4:30, draw that on both clocks, and then 7, put those numbers again in order from smallest to biggest. Okay, shouldn't be too hard. I don't think so. It should be pretty simple. On number for your language assignment, I also put a link in there for your parents. That worksheet there deals with rhyming words. Remember, rhyming words are words that sound very, very alike. We've done that in reading class, and we've done it in language before as well. But for rhyming words, let's think of words like bat, cat, ball, fall. They have the same ending sounds, okay? Like bat and cat, they both end with an at sound. Ball and fall, they both end in an all sound, okay? So what you have to do is they give you a word and you need to come up with see if you can fill up all the lines with other words that rhyme with them, okay? Now, if you can't print that sheet off, you can just do it on a separate piece of paper, okay? Shouldn't be too hard. There's only 4 words that they give you, but come up with as many words that rhyme with each one of those. So should be pretty simple. Don't cheat because the answer key was attached to it, so don't look at that answer key. just look at the sheet that mom and dad give you, okay? The other optional thing that all first graders, I'm still challenging you, read a story every single day out loud to mom or dad, okay? Make sure you're reading. Reading is very, 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 very important, okay? Second graders, with your math, you guys got 3 sheets today. The first one is this one. Looks like this with the -6. It says on the very top 90.1a, okay? On that one, just working on subtracting 6s. Shouldn't be too hard. Then we're going to skip 90a, the problem solving, and we're going to jump all the way up to 91a in lesson, the fact problem, 91a. There's 2 sheets there. The first one just deals with subtracting 6s and 5s, just like we just did on the other sheet, so that shouldn't be too hard. At the top part, second graders, you have to draw a 1.5-inch line, or 3.5-inch line, put your name on it, then a 1.5-inch line, and put the date. Okay, so that shouldn't be too hard. Number 1, it says there were a dozen. How much is in a dozen? If I get a dozen donuts, how many donuts do I get? 12. Okay, so there's a dozen stuffed animals on her bed, and her dog came in and chewed 5 of the stuffed animals. Oh, man. So how many are left? So what do we have to do to 12 and 5 if he chewed them up? Subtract. So you're going to do 12 minus 5 on the top in the number sentence, and then tell me how many are left. Okay? Number 6, you remember, this is what we did this a while back at school. You got to fill in that chart. So you're going to deals with jelly beans and how many jelly beans each person has. And the cool thing is that, remember, when you draw 1 jelly bean, that equals 2. So if you draw a whole jelly bean, so what would equal 1? You just draw half of a jelly bean. So you got to fill in that chart for Shelly, Danielle, and Joshua about how many jelly beans they have. Okay. Number 3. This is something that's a little bit new. I'm going to show you some problems here on how to do this. This is when we subtract 2 different problems, or two different numbers. Okay, it's 2-digit numbers that look like this. Okay. 34 minus 18. Now, here's a question. What do we subtract first? So remember, we used to always put a line here, and I may do this just for this problem. Okay, split it in half. So do we just subtract 3 minus 1 first, or do we subtract 4 minus 8? Remember, you always start from the back of the problem, so we're going to do 4 minus 8. But here's a question. If I had 4 pieces of candy, can you take 8 away from me? You can't. So if the number on top here is smaller than the number that's below, then we have to do something. You come over here to the 3, and we're going to cross the 3 off. Okay? I'm going to see if I can do this. See if you can still. Let me move my computer just a smidge. Okay, so I come over here. I'm going to cross off my 3. And if I take away 1 from 3, what do I get? What comes, if we go backwards, what comes right before the 3? We change that, and I'm going to make it into a 2. Okay? And then I come over here, and I'm going to put a 1 right in front of this. So now, since I borrowed 1, I'm going to put a 1 here. So now it's not 4, but it becomes 14. So now we have 14 minus 8. That's 6. And remember, this isn't 3 anymore. This is 2. So we have 2 minus 1, 1. Your answer is 16. Let's try one more. Or maybe we'll try a couple more, okay? This is a little trickier of an assignment. Let's say we have 50 minus 17. All right, so we start with the back numbers. 0 minus 7, we can't do it. So we come over here and we cross off the 5. And that becomes a 4 because we go backwards 1. And then I put the 1 right in front of the 0 to make it a 10, right? Okay, see how I did that? So now I have 10 minus 7, which is 3. And 4 minus 1, also 3. So our answer is 33. Let's try one more here. 72 minus 43. All right, 72 minus 49. So we do 2 minus 9 first, but we can't do it because remember the number's smaller on top. The number's smaller on top, you can't do it. So you come over to the 7 and we cross it off. We make it into a 6. And we put the 1 in front of the 2 to give us 12. So now we do 12 minus 9, which gives us 3. And then 6 minus 4, which gives us 2. So our answer is 23. Now remember, sometimes they're going to give you a problem that looks like this. 27 minus 13. Now, remember we start from the back. 7 minus 3. Oh, now look at this number. The number is bigger on top. 7. So we can just subtract it. 7 minus 3 is 4. And 2 minus 1 is 1. Okay? So if the number is bigger, then you don't have to do it. Then you don't have to borrow. So if you look at the problems on lesson 91, down here at the bottom, okay, here's those problems I'm telling you about. And if you look, the first one, the 3 is smaller than the 5. Oh, so you have to borrow there. The next one, the 8 is bigger than the 6. So do we have to borrow? Nope. But this one we're going to have to borrow again. So the middle one, you don't have to borrow. These two, you do have to borrow, okay? So be careful there. The number 4, you're going to have to put those numbers in order from smallest to greatest, and then circle the number that goes between 28 and 42. Number 5, match the number with the words. And 6, if she had 3 dimes and 16 pennies, how much money is that? So be careful. Remember, 3 dimes is how much money? 10, 20, 30. And then we add 30 and 16 together. And then you got to write it in 2 different ways. Remember, we did that just the other day. So if I had, let's say, 50 cents, you can write 50 cents with the cent sign, or you can write it with the dollar sign. So remember, let me show you. 50 cents can be written like this, 50 cents with the cent sign behind, or you can go dollar sign 0.50. So make sure you write it in both ways, once with the dollar sign and once with the cents sign, okay? On the back side, everything else I think is pretty much exactly the same. Let me double check, make sure. As the front side, just different numbers. And again, on number 3 with the borrowing, one of them you don't have to borrow, the other 2 you will. So I'm not going to tell you which ones though for that one, okay? I want to see if you can figure that one out, okay? All right, if you have any questions, tell your parents or say, hey, I need to talk to Mr. Holman, and I'll help you as much as I can, okay? For your language today, 3rd and 4th graders, you're going to be taking a look at names. Remember, when we write our name, like think about when you write your name on top of your homework, you always start it with a capital letter. So you never write your name without starting it with a capital letter. And that goes with anyone's name. So on the first page there, for 1 through 5, you have to rewrite the sentences, and you got to look up in the picture on the list at the very, very top of the page. So you want to look right up here at this list up here to find who's the answers to fill in the blank. And it's going to be someone's name for each one. But when you write their name, make sure you write it with a capital letter, because if you don't, you're going to get it marked wrong. So make sure you write that name with a capital letter. Then on the other page, you're going to be looking for titles. Now, titles are like Mr., Mrs., Doctor, those types of things. So like when you write Mr. Holman, you always start the title with a capital letter as well. So Mr. starts with a capital M. If I was to say Dr. Smith, I have to start the D, capital D for Dr. Smith, okay? So you have to go through that paragraph, and you're going to just write your numbers on your paper, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And then every time you find a title that isn't written capitalized, you need to rewrite that title on your paper. You don't have to rewrite the whole paragraph, okay? So you're going to find the 6 wrong titles that aren't capitalized and write them correctly on your paper, All right? All right, that's all you guys have for language today. Shouldn't be too hard. Third graders, for you today, nothing too hard or out of the ordinary. A little tricky thing for you guys today is that you are going to be doing investigation 8. Okay, so for investigation 8, this is a shorter assignment, but you're going to have to read through it. But a lot of the stuff that you are going to find in this page is stuff that we've talked about before. It's all about shapes, and luckily we were able to look at those shapes right before we couldn't go to school anymore. So remember, we talked about a bunch of things there. We've talked about the faces. That's the sides of a shape. So let's see if I have any. I have my rectangular prism here. So I have a face here, I have a face here, I have a face here. Okay, those are faces. We also have edges. Remember, that's like these parts. There's 2 here, 1 here, 1 here. Okay, remember those are edges. And then the vertexes, remember those are the corners. How many corners are there? So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so what you're gonna have to do is for the first few problems there for 1, 2, 3, and 4, you got to tell me all 3 of them. How many? First, tell me what the name of the shape is. Tell me how many faces does it have, how many edges does it have, and how many vertexes. Okay, so you have to put all 3 of those or 4 of those answers for each one. The number 5 and 6, it says some solids have surfaces that are not flat. Describe each one of those. So, like number 5, look at number 5. If in your book, how many flat surfaces does it have? There's 2. So you write it has 2 flat surfaces that are in what shape? Shaped like a circle. Yeah. And then it has 1. If you look at it, it looks like a can. Okay, kind of looks like a cup, right? I have my cup here. Okay, it's got a circle here. It's got a circle here, but then what's the problem here? Is that flat? No, this is a curved surface. So it has 1 curved surface and 2 flat circle surfaces that are shaped like circles. All right. So, and then you need to do the same thing for number 6. Okay. Tell me how many curved surfaces it has and how many flat surfaces does it have. And number 7. Sorry. Okay. Number 7, kind of a little different. Then number 8, you got to look at those and tell me which one there doesn't belong. A, B, C, or D. There's one of them that's not like all the other ones. Okay, take a look at that. Especially, it kind of goes along with flat and curved surfaces. So that'll help a little bit. And then answer the question: why did you say that one didn't belong? And then number 9, which one best represents a triangular prism? A, B, C, or D. Then number 10, which one below has 2 flat surfaces and 1 curved surface? 11, what geometric solid below has 8 vertices? And number 12, which geometric shape is named for a solid? For that solid, what do you call that shape right there? So it's not very, very hard. You can go back and look at those shapes and kind of go from there. Okay, so it shouldn't take you that long. It's a pretty easier assignment, but at the same time, it's just a little bit more work with shapes. All right. 3rd and 4th graders, Dylan, Javon, you guys also have a kind of a shorter assignment today. This is dealing with adverbs. Remember, adverbs are words that describe verbs. Okay, and oftentimes when we use adverbs, they make our sentences a little bit more interesting. So he talked quietly in the movie. How the verb, the action word is talked, and how did he talk? He talked quietly. Okay, if I just wrote he talked during the movie, okay, that's a good sentence. But if I said he talked quietly, it kind of gives you a little bit more information about that sentence. Okay, so what you're going to have to do for your assignment is, for part A, it says choose an adverb that tells how they, they give you the verb. They underline the verb in each sentence. What you need to do is rewrite the sentence and add an adverb to describe that verb in that sentence. So I'm going to do number 1 with you. Everyone worked on this cooking project. That's the sentence, and worked is underlined. So what word can we use to describe how they worked? I would say everyone worked quickly on this cooking project. Huh, there's one. You may have come up with a different word. Quickly was the first one that popped in my mind. So you need to rewrite those sentences for 1 through 6 and add an adverb to describe that word that's underlined, okay? And then part 7 through 16, it says use pronouns or names of group members to complete the sentences below, and then add an adverb that tells us when or where to each sentence. So you got to write someone's name first. So you're going to make these into a sentence. So let's do number 7. Reads mysteries. All right. So remember, that has to be an adverb that tells us when or where they read mysteries. Okay. So you're going to start off with a noun or pronoun. So Sally never reads mysteries. Oh, that tells us when, right? When did she read mysteries? Never. Sally must not like mystery books, or maybe she doesn't like to read. So that tells us when or where, right? So Sally never reads mysteries. Now you can't use that same one you can't use never over and over and over and over again. Be creative with our pronoun or our adverbs that we use there, okay? Don't use the same one in every single sentence. Otherwise, I'll be calling your parents and saying, hey, they need to redo that, okay? Do that. Writing all the sentences today, especially since you guys have shorter assignments. 4th graders, you guys have math also for Mr. Wasser, Leah, and Trey. Your assignment was on there, lesson 73, A through C, and 1 through 30. So if you have any questions, go to Mr. Wasser. Shouldn't be too hard, I don't think, but we'll see. Keep getting that homework done. Remind your parents to turn it in. Take a picture of it, email it to me. I appreciate it. I'm going through that homework every single day, just kind of making sure we're getting the concepts down. I've talked to a couple parents about some homework that wasn't done quite right. And thanks for getting it corrected and turning it back in to me. I appreciate the work. I know this is a little bit tricky to do homework at home, but we'll keep moving. I will be on Zoom this morning, but not this evening. Because of church tonight, my family and I will be watching church at 7 o'clock for the Lenten service. So we will not be on Zoom tonight, but if you want to join me this morning at 10, you can. Otherwise, I will see you all tomorrow, and have a great Wednesday. Don't play too many jokes on your parents for April Fool's Day, and enjoy your day. All right. Call me if you have any questions. Talk to you guys later. Bye.